Hey everybody, welcome to Trading the Close. My name is Gareth Soloway here at VerifiedInvesting.com, and we're going to explore the charts on the market today. The markets are a little bit more mixed. We're seeing crypto bounce, Bitcoin's having a good rally. We're seeing the S&P neutral to negative after being down 1.5%. It did rally back quite a bit. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, is catching a bid. We're seeing Tesla bounce a little bit today, as well as Nvidia. So let's go over to the big board and take a look at what we have today. And today we're seeing, again, the Dow is under a little bit of pressure, still down about 281 points. The NASDAQ, though, up 137. Now, listen, that doesn't make up for the 800-point drop yesterday. But again, it's showing that charts are trying to find key support levels, and a few buyers are stepping up. I will admit I am one of those buyers that are nibbling on a few key places or a few key stocks. S&P down slightly, down about 11 points currently. Oil, small bounce. Gold up about $29, and here it is, Bitcoin up $4,626, or almost 6%. Heat map, you can see it's much more mixed today versus yesterday. Yesterday it was a sea of red, especially in technology. Today we are seeing Nvidia having a good day, although Apple is down another 2.4%. Interesting thing with Apple, and I'll show you guys this, is that there's a head and shoulders pattern. It was below the neckline earlier in the day when the stock market was at the lows, and that would have meant a trigger if it closed below, but it has since rallied back above that neckline, meaning the head and shoulders, which is bearish, will not trigger today. All right, let's look at a couple charts here. Number one, we have the S&P 500. And we can see, again, we continue to have a down day or down move going on the S&P 500. Now, the big question is, and this is something I'm actively searching, is where are the support levels? We know there's a support level in here, which is kind of in the range of around where we currently are. But if we break through this, there's another level right down here. This would be your next level down there. So again, whenever you have a market that's in a waterfall event, meaning it just kind of keeps going down and down and down, what you're looking for is to say, okay, at what levels can I find a confluence of factors, meaning a trend line, a Fibonacci, a gap fill, things that align, and that will give you your higher probability of a bounce. At this point, we do have some supports down in this range, and we are seeing oversold signals only in the short term. But again, I'm not seeing enough to really say, okay, for sure we're going to bounce. I'd be buying heavily if that was the case. Otherwise, right now, what I'm doing is I'm nibbling here and there, like Tesla, nibbled a little on Tesla, some financial stocks, JP Morgan Chase, getting very, very inexpensive. Looking at names like those, like best of breed, versus kind of going towards some of the other crazier stuff. All right. And again, I think that's important, folks. Listen, you know, you're always in this market environment going to find stocks that are getting crushed 50, 60, 70%. But the ones that will see the institutional money flow that will bounce the best with the safest amount, those will likely be best of breed, higher quality names like a JP Morgan Chase, like you know, you could talk even about a Robinhood. Robinhood, a profitable company now. Even though it's higher risk and higher beta, those names would be ones that could bounce. All right, let's take our attention over here, taking a look at Tesla today. Looks like it's going to close right around $230. Notice again, this is a chart that I showed this morning. We had the major support plus the 786 Fibonacci retrace between these two levels. And sure enough, today we did get within those two levels perfectly, and it has bounced back to the upside. It's not a big bounce yet, but to me, this zone is a major, major support zone, and I would be anticipating, whether it goes and touches the low end of this line or not, I do anticipate a bounce on Tesla. All right, Oracle. Oracle reported earnings yesterday after the bell. It was down on earnings, but look at what it hit today. And by the way, the backlog of orders for these guys was insane. But look at the gap fill. There's your big gap right here. Fills the gap at the lows today and gets a bounce. I think there's a short-term low here on Oracle, especially with the size of that backlog. That was impressive, to say the least. And then if we look at Nvidia today, it was up on the day about $1.70, or it is up about $1.70. But the kicker here is it's still below this line. So if you're gaming this out, how would you think this would play? I would expect a bounce at some point back to the scene of the crime, and then at that point, a decent chance of another leg lower. So again, I do think, again, markets are due for a shorter term bounce, which is why I'm nibbling small positions on a few of these high quality type names. But at the same time, understanding that these are shorter term trades, looking for that bounce, get the heck out, and then I'll look to see, do we have that next leg lower in the market. So again, just to summarize where I'm standing myself based on my own trading is I'm in some longs now, dipping my toe in the water on some of these best of breeds, but very short-term time horizon, literally days, maybe a week, week and a half, 2 weeks type thing, and also small enough position sizes where if it does go lower tomorrow, for instance, I can add more and dollar cost average, setting myself up for the eventual bounce. All right, couple other charts here. Apple, here's your head and shoulders pattern, very clear as day. And again, you could see right here we were below the neckline, but by the end of the day, Apple has rallied back above, so there's no trigger for the bearish pattern yet on Apple. Bitcoin, what a bounce today, guys, back to about 83,000. And again, just to keep in mind, Bitcoin, again, great bounce. I actually have some crypto on the long side that I've been accumulating the last few days, so I love seeing the bounces in crypto, but I'm fully aware there's resistance up here, there's support down here, and really this is just an interim bounce that, again, in general, I still favor at some point a flush down to the 73 to 75,000 level. Take a look at silver today. Great day on silver, but look at where it went right to, the downsloping trend line from these highs right through here. And so again, we don't have a breakout on silver, but now it goes on my watch list to see what happens tomorrow. Can it push through this resistance line? If it does and confirms, you should retest around the $34.80 to $35 per ounce level. Gold today also had a bounce, but it's still within this range. You have a flat top right up here. You have an upsloping trend line right here. This is what we would refer to as a wedge pattern. And wedge patterns essentially mean price is consolidating. It's in tightly getting wound tighter and tighter and tighter until it either breaks out or it breaks to the downside. Usually that direction will be big. In this case, I would anticipate if it breaks out, it goes up here to this upper trend line of resistance here, and if it breaks here, it would go retest this level to the downside. Oil today, small bounce, nothing to write home about. I'm still anticipating a little bit more of a bounce to the upside, and then an eventual, maybe a couple weeks or a month from now, another big leg lower. But right now, again, a quiet day there. And sure enough, we had the topping tail yesterday on natural gas, a huge topping tail. Today, we traded up a little bit into it and then came back in, and I continue to anticipate further downside in natural gas. All right, so again, guys, we do have some economic data coming out in the next few days. I will be covering those with you. In tomorrow's game plan, I'm going to go over some trading levels and trades that I am currently taking myself and why I'm taking them, the levels I'm buying them, and kind of my game plan for those trade setups. And we'll go over, again, the economic data and any earnings that are out. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Markets, again, closing basically flat to slightly lower on the S&P, slightly higher on the NASDAQ. You guys have a great one. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.